Okay, so these are the February 2026 predictions for Georgia. I would definitely say contracts, tort, maybe it could also be contracts and torts together. Here, it was contracts and torts. So I could see them doing it again to cover both. And then I would say you have more ethics this time, maybe a full-blown ethics like in February 2023. Also, I would say evidence, maybe property, perhaps remedies. And that's about it. If you have any opinions, let me know in the comments. Give it a thumbs up and it'll encourage me to do individual within the subject here of what we can expect for the main, and then we'll do a separate video for the wildcards. Hi, okay, this is a detailed Georgia February 2026 predictions. I did this last time, so I have all the detailed what happened previous. So since it wasn't tested in July 25, I can make the same prediction here. I think it's going to, out of all these here, contracts, torts, and then we had the crossover where they have both. I think it's going to be, I would take a look at this interference of, I think there's been so much common law and UCC hasn't been tested for 2 years. I think it's going to be UCC, and it could be crossed over with torts instead of a pure contracts or a pure torts. Just be ready for both. And so I think it should be interference with contracts, tortious interference with contracts. And then I also think I would also look into land contracts. Touring hasn't been tested since just before the pandemic. See, mistake was repeated here in July 2024, so I don't think that'll happen again. But I could see land contracts. Okay, so that's my prediction there for the first essay. Could be one of the 4 essays, all right? Okay, let's hide this. Move on to essay 2. Let's see. So what I do for other jurisdictions, we say what type of, so let's go to 224, okay? Oh, by the way, so there was this, the director, John, shout out John Else. He said, happy holiday, and this is like a gift. Definitely no secured transactions ever again. If you listen to my old jury, I never predicted it because they've never done it since 2013 or before. Like in the app, I've looked at every single essay July 2012, so I figure I never predicted it anyway. So I don't think it's that much of a gift, but that's okay. Always be grateful for everything, right? So anyways, okay, so ethics. I think ethics. So let's go to the app here, click up Georgia jurisdiction, go to ethics, go to the essays, and we had ethics in February 2024 right here. Q1, it was a crossover, so it was a civil kind of fraud and deceit in contract. So let's see here, crossover with torts and contracts and civil setting. Okay, so let's check out 223. And oh yeah, it was malpractice. 223 Q3, click up the outline. So separation of client proof. So this is also a civil, it's with a corporation actually, CEO, and withdraw. So I would say that's civil or corporate setting. Is it corporate? Yeah, I think so. In-house legal, yeah, that's corporate setting. So corporate, and this was non-cross, right? It was just pure ethics. Okay, 721, let's check that out. What happened in 721? Q4, another CEO, let's see, corporation, CEO, civil corporation. It was a pure essay, corporations, okay? And then solicitation, 220, the ambulance chasers, 220. So this was just before the pandemic hit. Let's see, 220, attorney ethics, question 2, conflicts of interest. So like solicitation, not civil, pure again. And then 219, okay, let's see, civil again. And it's this whole IOLTA accounts. So civil again, and it's a pure professional responsibility, non-crossover. So I think you should get a civil this time. And I want you to look out for this accounts segregation type of question. Put that up here. You may want to look into solicitation too, which is very 2020. So let's go to evidence now. 224. I just want to see if it's criminal or civil. 224. Okay, so this is like a civil with the some mailbox thing. Okay, with the reply letter presumption. Okay, civil. Okay, and then best evidence 222 evidence Q1. Notice that this is question 1. There's this idea that they put racehorses in the beginning of your essays, so it'll stop you from getting to the rest, if that makes sense. Okay, if you're poor time management, it'll have a cascading effect against the remaining essays. I've heard that before, and it makes sense. But watch out for that. So since I'm predicting evidence, figure out how to keep strict on the time. Okay, so here we go. So this looks like a criminal setting. I can tell because it says, okay, civil case actually. Number 1, call it the question number 1, civil. So it's confusing, right? Because it's wrongful death, but then it's civil. And then they have a criminal trial, so it's both. See number 5 and number 6. So half is civil and criminal. So let's make it wider. Okay, so it's both. And 221, Q1, first question again. So is it put there to slow you down? I don't know. Okay, and not think about it, but think about what you would do if it's given it to you. So you got to make hard timelines or hard stops to get to the next essays to give them a fair writing, right? So think about that. Okay, so what kind of case is this? Civil or criminal? Big box. Insurance adjusters. It looks like negligence. So this is civil. 719 evidence here. Q3. Some kind of drunk driver. And then let's take a look at 218. Okay, hearsay 218. Just trying to see if it's civil. So Shrimpy sued driver. That's civil. Yeah, it looks like civil. Okay, what do I think? So I think it'll be civil again, but I'd watch for this crim mixed in. We want to err on the side of harder than easier. So I would say multi-level hearsay with the dying declaration. Haven't seen that in a while. Watch out for 222 too. Okay, so take a look at 222 to see how they did that half criminal, half civil, and then take a look at this 218 evidence question about dying declaration and stuff. The last one, property. Okay, 224. First possession, leasehold estates, tenancy, repossession, self-help. Okay, 723. Licenses and implied warranties. Easements, licenses, and warranties in the sale, right, of the house. Okay, 719, Q4. Deeds, deed transfer, recording of deeds, easements, and restrictive covenants. Easements? Easements by necessity. We need a road access. You got to be able to get in and off the property. Okay, 718. We kind of crossed over with remedies. Okay, periodic tenancy, tenancies and will. Cross with contract and tort, tenancies, restitution. I'm going to make a note of this for the wild cards later. Rescission, fraud, restitution. My spell check doesn't know how to spell rescission. Whatever. Okay, anyways, let's go look at 717. And I guess you got a little preview on the wild card video. 717. Spoiler alert. See 717. Property law, question 2. Okay, encroachments, adverse possession. Okay, so adverse possession was just tested February 2024. So it's just crossed over once. So I would think it'd be a pure question, and I would think tenancies. So I would use this, and instead of easements, I would put tenancies. I'd look at 717, 718 for sure, and then maybe deeds and covenants. Okay, I guess that's it for the 4 essays. We could do wildcards in a week or so, or maybe sooner. Let me know in the comments if you want to see them. All right, give it a thumbs up if you liked it. So screenshot this. These are the 4 and the specific things I want you to think about. All right.